Ladies and gentlemen, stop the press, stop the taxis, stop the guy in the spaza shop asking if you want airtime with your bread. Because today, for the first time in a long time, I've got to say it, the EFF actually did something right. Yes, I know it shocked me too. I almost spilled my kota when I saw the news. But let's not get ahead of ourselves now, because first I need to explain what's exactly happening. Because you cannot appreciate how wild this entire situation is until you understand everything behind it. And to understand the drama behind it, I need to introduce you to something called Operation Dudula. So, what is Operation Dudula? I'm sure you've heard that name. Operation Dudula is basically a WhatsApp group that escaped into the real world. It's a bunch of South Africans who woke up one morning and decided, Eish, I'm unemployed, government is useless, Eskom is gone. Let me fight Zimbabweans and Mozambicans instead. Maybe that's gonna fix the potholes. That's literally their logic. They claim to be an anti-illegal immigration movement. But in practice, these guys are like that uncle at the braai who says, I'm not racist, but... and then proceeds to be the most racist person alive. Dudula says they only go after illegal foreigners. But here's the reality check. They go after anyone who just looks foreign. You could be a legal Malawian, passport, visa, permit all stamped and shiny, and Dudula will still chase you out of your tuck shop because you pronounced pap with an accent. They don't check home affairs, they don't check the law, they just check vibes. These people have pulled stunts that would make a soapy blush. Even with hospitals, they've literally camped outside hospitals like Kalafong and blocked foreign patients from getting any health care. Imagine that. You've got malaria, you are dying, and some oak in a fake camouflage jacket says, sorry chief, you're not South African, go cough in Zimbabwe. Even if you have the papers. They've even stormed spaza shops and demanded papers from Somali and Ethiopian owners. Bro, even SARS doesn't chase tax dodgers that hard. And even if they do show them the papers, they still trash the place. They've even become the language police. I swear, if your house it doesn't sound like it comes from Soweto, maybe Operation Dudula will chase you away too. But at this point, if you're not a born and bred, biltong chewing, castle lager drinking South African, you're in trouble with them. And let's not forget their leader, Nhlanhla Lux Dlamini. This guy has been in court more times than the Proteas have choked at the World Cup. Housebreaking charges, intimidation charges, assault charges. My guy is basically on first name terms with magistrates at this point. And yet, he's out here acting like the sheriff of Johannesburg, as if he's the one who decides who belongs and who doesn't. Now, let me be fair for a second. If Operation Dudula had stuck to its original claim, being about illegal foreigners only, I would have understood them as a tax-paying South African. Look, I'm not saying go around assaulting people or treating them like trash. That is barbaric. But as a tax-paying citizen, you have every right to ask questions. How did you get here? Do you have the proper papers? Are you legally allowed to work or run a shop? That's not being evil, that's being a South African citizen. Because let's be real, any country in the world has immigration laws. Try and sneak into America and see what ICE does to you. Try rocking up in the UK without papers and you'll be in a flight back faster than you can say fish and chips. So no, it's not evil to want illegal foreigners deported. That's just being a citizen who wants order and wants to keep track of what's going on in the country. Illegal immigration does affect the system. The hospitals, the schools, the housing, and the citizens do have a right to question it. You have a right to question it. If Dudula had stuck in that lane, people would have actually respected them. Even me, I'd be like, oh, okay, I see you. You're holding our government accountable for borders. You get what I mean? But that's not what they did. That's not what they're doing. Instead, they used illegal foreigners as a blanket excuse to go after all foreigners. Legal or not, papers or not. As long as you weren't born in Mamelodi, you're their enemy. That's where they lost the plot. They stopped being concerned citizens and started being thugs with a uniform. Wink, wink. Shout out to Katlego Mwachi. Because questioning illegal immigration, legit, chasing sick patients out of hospitals. Pure madness. Now, the EFF, normally, I'm not a fan of Julius Malema's gang because let's be real. Most of the time, the EFF is like that drunk cousin at the wedding. They start off dancing nicely and then suddenly they are taking off their t-shirt, fighting the DJ and singing Kill the Boer on the mic with their red berets on. Their whole vibe is just chaos. They love shouting and fighting in parliament, calling everyone fascists, and pushing this disgusting anti-white, burn everything down agenda. So normally I don't stand with them. I don't hate Malema. The guy is entertaining. But I also don't want to wake up one day with red overalls replacing my Wi-Fi router. You get what I mean? But here I must salute the man, and you must too. The EFF is filing a criminal case against Operation Dudula. And you know what? They're right to do it. Because Dudula is not just about illegal foreigners. You know that. They've graduated. They are now against foreigners as a whole in general. As long as you're not South African, Operation Dudula wants some smoke with you. Even if you've got papers tighter than Home Affairs queues, they'll still say, Futsek, we don't want you here. They just beef with foreigners. That's not law enforcement. That is just plain xenophobic thuggery. So when Malema said Dudula is a bunch of thugs, I actually nodded with him. I nearly clapped for the man. Because think about it. Dudula is literally blocking even the legal foreigners from public health care. The legal ones who are supposed to be here, from jobs, from living their lives. They were actually at one point talking about getting all the foreign kids from the public schools, denying them access to public education. Why are you taking out your frustration on the easiest target? And foreigners have become the scapegoat of all their problems. So when Malema stands up and says, hey, this is wrong, I've got to give him flowers. I've got to give him his flowers, and you have to too. Because let's be honest, if the EFF is the most reasonable voice in the room, you do know South Africa is in serious trouble, right? Dudula is out here acting like Home Affairs with less efficiency and more broken English. They are basically the SANDF, the South Africans' No Documentation Force. Operation Dudula is the only group that can make Malema look like Nelson Mandela, because Malema can be intense at times. So when he looks like Mandela in situations like these, then you know that this is even worse than the Oscar Pistorius case. Now, I get it. Unemployment is high, load shedding makes us all angry. I understand them. You can look around and think, yeah, the foreigners are taking the jobs. But blaming Zimbabweans for potholes is like blaming your neighbor's dog because Eskom switched off the power. It doesn't make sense. And if the foreigner has more qualifications than you, then why blame him? Whose fault is it that he worked harder than you? Foreigners didn't build in Nkandla. Foreigners didn't do the VBS bank scandal. Foreigners didn't stuff the cash inside the couch in Palapala. Foreigners don't run the South African government. So why are we fighting the guys selling tomatoes at the taxi rank instead of the politicians stealing billions in Sandton? The truth is, Dudula is a distraction. It is easy to shout at a random Malawian spaza shop owner. It's easier to march at parliament and demand accountability from Ramaphosa and his cabinet. So instead of fighting corruption, instead of fixing schools, instead of demanding jobs, instead of giving to charity, Dudula goes after the softest target. Foreigners who often can't even fight back. It's cowardice. It's straight up cowardice. So yeah, for once in my life, I have to say, Malema, you were right. Operation Dudula is nothing but a gang of thugs disguised as patriots running around harassing people who just want to live. They don't fix South Africa. They don't build anything, just like you guys, the EFF. Just like you too, they don't create jobs, and just like the EFF, they don't solve crime. All they do, just like the EFF, is create fear and division. So yes, EFF, take them to court, lock them up, shut them down like that black sheep relative of yours. And let's all laugh at the irony that the EFF, the Chaos Party itself, finally played the role of common sense in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, that is literally where we are in the country. When Julius Malema is the one making sense, you know we are in deep, deep trouble. But hey, at least we can laugh about it. Because if you don't laugh in South Africa, you will cry harder than a Proteas fan at the semifinals. like, share. You better smash that subscribe button. Share this with anyone else who, is trying to understand this entire situation and why the EFF could be right in this case, who's trying to understand the Operation Dudula rabbit hole. Just share this with anyone who would love this. This is from yours truly, Summer Sambit. Let's hit that 100K subs before the end of the year. And like always, happy Heritage Day. Happy belated Heritage Day. I don't know why I forgot to say it yesterday to my beloved Summer family. And like always, I hope you're there cozying up in the workplace or at home, because by the looks of things, the rain is about to come. But I'll see you next time.